So I hope my screen is visible to you guys.
Yes, sir.
Now, thank you for confirming. So welcome everyone. Today is our first demo on the Business Analyst training program. Now this will be a three demo series or a three session on demos. So we'll have demo one today, then we'll have one on tomorrow and one on Friday as well. Now, over the next 3 days, what we will try to do is we'll try to learn about what this training program is, what are the different topics that will be covered in this training program, how this training program is structured, what is covered versus what is not covered, basically accordingly set our expectations straight with respect to this training program. Then we will also go along and try and understand how the market looks like for business analyst. Okay. At the end of the day, what's more important? See, we all go through any training program to secure a job. Okay. To start earning somewhere something. Maybe to secure a job that is more aligned with our interests or not. So we'll try to understand the job opportunities around what kind of work could you expect as a business analyst, or what is expected out of you, how to fulfill those roles, some of the generic roles and responsibilities. And then we'll also try to cover what would be impact of artificial intelligence tools like chat gpt on the work that you do as a business analyst. Okay, so maybe these are some of the topics that we will try to cover as part of this entire training program. We will go over what this training program is, the details around training program. Okay, and some of the key job opportunities or the type of work that is expected out of a business analyst. Okay, then key roles and responsibilities. Obviously on the or when, because we are going through the demo series which is restricted to 3-day demo, so that's where we'll not be discussing every roles and responsibility out there, but some of the important ones. Okay, we'll also try to understand some of the differences between what is a BA versus what's a data analyst or a business analyst versus what is data analytics. Okay, is there any difference between them, or like all are trying to represent the same thing? Then impact of AI, whether it is useful or whether it is taking away your jobs. So we'll try to structure these things over the next 3 days, that is starting today, tomorrow, and day after tomorrow. Okay, we'll try to have these topics discussed over the next few days. Now, before we get started, just wanted to let you know, if you have any questions during demo series while I'm explaining a topic, just post your questions in the chat option there as well. Okay, so at during while explaining the topics, once I'm done with the explanation, I'll get back to the questions as well. I'll give you an opportunity to ask questions. During that time you can ask your questions, and just because you don't forget, I don't want to discourage you from asking questions, but just because you don't forget, it is good to put it in the chat box as well. Okay, so that way whenever I get to the questions, I'll ask it. Use the opportunity to understand better about this training program. Okay, what to expect, what kind of jobs to expect, what kind of work to expect. Okay, and debunk some of the myths around the business analyst, data analyst, and data analytics role. Okay, so with that we will start. Now this demo session will be at 8 a.m. IST Indian Standard Time for the next 3 days. Okay, so these three demo sessions are free basically for creating more of awareness among the guys. So you can always attend these classes. Now let's get started. Okay, so this is what is going to be our agenda. So we will start with a little bit introduction about myself. Okay, that is essential for you guys to have more confidence or better understanding of whether my trainer is knowledgeable or not. Then we'll start with prerequisites. So before starting any training program, it is important to understand what kind of knowledge is already expected out of me. Okay, so that I can accordingly prepare myself or I can make an informed decision. Then what are some of the myths around business analysts, like who can do the work versus who cannot? Then we'll also look at course content. Okay, then what tools we are going to learn, what's the timeline that we are looking at when we talk about this training program, how much time it is going to take, what topics will be covered around what weeks. Then what can you expect after this training is complete? What kind of knowledge will you have? What roles and responsibilities you could perform? Okay. Then from a preparation perspective, how are we going to help you ensure that you learn the necessary concepts? Obviously, I can give you things like case study assignments, but I cannot make you study. That is where you have to put in effort. I can teach you the concepts, explain to you the things, give you assignments to go back and practice that we have planned right across this training program. But preparing for it, practicing those assignments, learning or revising the concepts is completely up to the students. The next is certifications. What certifications are available as business analyst, which one can you take, when should you take, we'll discuss those as well. And what's the career growth as a business analyst looks like, what kind of jobs, what is my career trajectory going to be. So let's say I start as business analyst, then what's next, how am I going to move further in this entire IT journey. Okay, so let's get started. Now, I come across with 13 years of experience in the IT industry. Okay, I started my career as a developer on mainframe. So I was basically writing codes alongside COBOL, but I always had an IT background because that's where I started my career journey as a fresher. Now, over time, I gradually transitioned myself from working as a developer into a lead level role. And then from there, around like 8 years back, I switched to business analyst work. I worked as a business analyst into different organizations like Accenture, worked predominantly for health insurance, US health insurance clients, then moved over to startups as well. Now I'm working as a product owner or a product manager kind of role. Okay, so don't worry about who is a product owner, what do they do. So that will be our different training program altogether. So when we talk about the career growth as business analyst, I'll explain to you like how do you go from business analyst and where is it that we want to reach. So for the last 8 years, I have been working extensively with the clients. The best part about being a business analyst is that you get an opportunity to interact with almost wide variety of people. You work with clients which are difficult to handle, who are always complaining, who always come up with new changes, to working with your team, which is also equally dynamic, like they're smart, intelligent, and you get to learn from all these wide variety of people that you choose to interact with. Okay. Now, what is some of the prerequisites for you guys before you even think about this training program further? Okay. So the first thing is you must have any appropriate bachelor's or master's degree. Preferably, if you are from the engineering background or technical background, I'll be honest, you have an edge over the others. So if someone has a BE or a BTech or an MTech or MCA degree or even an MBA degree as well, you have a slight edge over the others. Now, if you come from a commerce background or arts background, does it mean that you should not apply? You can, but probably you will have difficulty in finding or locating jobs because lot of jobs in IT industry are focused around people with the technical degrees. Okay, BE, BTech, MTech, MCA, MBA, those kind of stuff. So a lot of time there will be an entry barrier for someone who comes from a non-IT or sorry non-technical backgrounds for people like who are from commerce or arts because you may not be able to meet the eligibility criteria. So does it mean you should not enroll, you should not learn? If you are ready to explore, if you are ready to overcome challenges, you should definitely. But if you are someone who wants job very easily, who don't want to put in lot of efforts, then probably it's not for you. Now, from the educational background, if we switch to the work that you are already doing, if you are already part of IT industry, like you were working as a developer, like I was working in the initial days of my career, or a TL, or you are already working in as a tester or a QA. Basically, you are already related to the IT industry, but working in a different domain rather than working as a business analyst. Then absolutely, this program is for you guys as well. If you want to switch over or transition to business analyst career. Now, what about people who are from non-IT background? Someone who has a work experience, but that work experience is not related to IT anywhere. So should we consider, or is that a prerequisite? So see, for business analyst, some type of experience is definitely needed. We have this training program designed to teach you guys the important concepts related to business analyst, to give you guys the necessary awareness that you have. We have examples placed right throughout our training program. We have assignments right throughout our training programs so that you get more familiar with these concepts. Okay. Now, if you are from non-IT industry, you can definitely have this training program, but there will be more learning or more effort that you guys will have to put in. So example, someone who is already working as a developer in IT industry, probably they will understand some of the basic concepts. If I say things like SDLC, software development life cycle, if I talk about things like stakeholders, clients, probably someone from non-IT may not be able to understand it. For someone who is already belonging to IT industry, they will be able to better relate with these terms because they have the necessary experience. Now, this training program definitely starts from the very basics, considering that even people from non-IT wants to switch to IT. So we start with the absolute basics, like teaching you the common terms used in IT industry. What are the different types of IT industries? Okay, what type of work are done in IT industry? What type of different projects come under IT industry? What is SDLC? What is waterfall? We start right from the basics so that even people who are in non-IT industry can understand, can work on it, can try to clear the interviews as well. But obviously, because you someone who is not part of IT industry, they will have to put in more efforts to learn. The effort will be more, but the training program accounts or covers for all the different aspects, considering that even non-IT people would be willing to work in IT industry. Okay. So any questions so far? Or let me look at the chat as well if some question has been posted over there. So I see Vignesh, you posted what's the difference between business analyst or business intelligent and data analyst. We'll come back to that question. That is part of this 3-day demo series. So we'll definitely answer that. But as of now, I'm keeping that aside. Okay, we'll come to it when the appropriate time comes. Now, if you have any questions with respect to what prerequisites or any specific questions related to your experience. Okay, so if not, let's move along. Now, before we actually continue further, what I would like to say you guys is just a minute. Okay, so we have a Google Classroom link. We have a Google Classroom link, guys. If possible, join join to that Google Classroom. Now, what's the advantage for you joining to the Google Classroom is that whatever documents that we will be creating, the running notes specifically, because I'll be telling you guys something, but it may not be, possible to remember all of it. So I'll be making some running notes as well, like how I'm writing over here. So all these relevant documents will be uploaded in the Google Classroom for you to access after the classes are over, so that you can review what was covered, what was not covered. Accordingly, you can prepare yourself with any questions that are needed in the next demo series. Okay, so that would be one advantage, plus some of the frequent job updates that would come in. Okay, for you to apply, enroll, and then appear for the interviews. So for all of you who are already part of our Google Classroom, uh, thank you for joining over there. For those of you who are new to this and still have not joined the Google Classroom, I request you all to join over there so that you can get the necessary updates from Harsha Trainings with respect to new training programs, with respect to updates in any training programs, with respect to job opportunities, or even for that matter, accessing these demo notes as well. Okay. Now, getting back to our training and moving along. Now, what are some of the myths or assumptions on business analyst profile? Now, people often think that you require a technical background in order to get started. Now, let me make one thing clear, guys. Technical is different from coding. Okay. People often associate technical means coding. Now understand that requiring a technical background does not mean requiring coding experience. Okay, a business analyst is a non-coding but technical role. So eventually, what is basically a business analyst trying to do? So we have, I'll not go in exact details of the different roles as of now, but just to give you guys an overview, we have developers will write code, we have testers or QA who will test the quality of the code. Okay? Whether the developer has written correct code or not, whether software is working as expected or not, it is the responsibility of testers to do the appropriate testing. Now, when we say developers will write the code, how are they going to write the code? Who will tell them what kind of software needs to be built? A developer will not create imaginary software in their mind itself. A developer, someone needs to tell the developer on what kind of software is needed. Okay, developer has the coding skills, but someone needs to tell them what kind of software is needed so that they can code accordingly. And that is where a business analyst comes into picture, who will share requirements related to what kind of software is needed. Okay, based on the requirements shared by the business analyst, the developer will write the code. Okay, a developer will not write imaginary code or something out of their mind. A developer waits for input from the business analyst. So you see, a business analyst is part of this entire technical ecosystem or technical structure, where business analyst, developer and QA are working with each other to build a software that would fulfill the needs of my clients. Okay, maybe my client wants to build an e-commerce software, something similar to Amazon, Flipkart. So a business analyst would try to identify the different requirements that could be needed. Developers may try to code accordingly. Okay, and testers maybe they may be working on testing on all those changes that are, or testing on the code that has been completed by the developer. So it's a technical role, but essentially you may not be involved in any coding as such. So we often confuse that technical background, we often relate it to a coding background. Okay, so technical and coding are two different things. You may need to think from a technical perspective because you are part of a technical team, but you don't have to worry about coding as such, that I need to write code or I need to develop code or I need to think of logic. Only that is not needed. Okay. The second thing is, or the next thing is, a fresher cannot become a BA. Now, a fresher can become BA, but it is not advisable. So, if anyone of you out here is actually a fresher, okay, probably I would not advise you to work directly as BA. So then, what's the roadmap for a fresher? So for a fresher, you should always look for internship opportunities. Okay. Once you have bagged sufficient internship opportunities, I would say for 6 months to 1 year, then you can think of starting to work as BA. Can you directly get a fresher to work as BA? probably it's not up to the organizations. See, a business analyst is a client facing role. Okay, a true business analyst role would require you to work or interact with clients on a regular basis. Okay, now for handling this client interactions, ideally organizations don't want freshers to be doing that job. Okay, so they think that a fresher who is more out of college may not be equipped in terms of communication wise, may not be equipped in terms of experience wise on how to do this client handling, how to communicate with the client, what to tell them, what not to tell them. So there could be these softer aspects or communication related aspects with freshers. So that's where there may not be enough opportunities for freshers to directly work as BA. If you are a fresher and you would still like to pursue working as BA, you should always look for internship opportunities in the starting. For all others, maybe who have some kind of experience, it is always good to get started. Okay. Now, one common assumption would be maybe why we require a business analyst when we have lot of SMEs. Okay. So what's an SME? An SME is basically the subject matter expert. Okay, people who have broader experience or good knowledge with respect to a particular subject. Remember, having knowledge about a subject is not what a business analyst does. Okay, as a business analyst, my primary responsibility is to write requirements that can be used by developer to write code. Okay, so eventually this is how things will move. I must be able to tell my developer what kind of software is needed, and then they will accordingly write code for it. Whereas a subject matter expert or SME deals with a particular subject of their interest. They are experts, they have a lot of knowledge on that particular subject. An SME may be or may not be aware of how to write requirements for a software. Okay, so SME and business analyst are two different things. I can be a business analyst and I can become an SME on e-commerce. Okay, how to manage the inventory for an e-commerce. I can learn those things. I could be a developer and I can learn about stock markets. I could be a business analyst and I could become an SME or knowledgeable or expert person on mutual funds. Okay, so becoming SME does not mean that I'll be able to write down my requirements for building software. Okay, these are two different things. Okay, so do we require a technical background as business analyst? Yes, but technical background is what? Technical is not coding background. Technical is your ability to understand how a software works. Okay, if you are someone who has zero interactions with software, which is difficult to find in today's world, if you are someone who don't even use mobile, who don't even use laptops, who don't even interact with technology, probably business analyst or IT industry is not for you. But if you are someone who has made use of Microsoft Word, Microsoft Excel, Microsoft PowerPoint, who has used some kind of software on and off, whether you are part of IT industry, whether you are non-IT industry, we all use some type of software in our day-to-day life as well. So if you have those accesses, if you love technology, that means you have a good technical background. Technical background is not coding background. Now I'll cover one more topic, and then I'll pause for next set of questions. So what are the different topics that we are going to cover? So like I said, even in the earlier days as well, that we have designed this entire training program for taking into consideration non-IT people as well. Okay, so for someone who is already part of IT industry, for them maybe it might be a repetitive thing, but for someone who is not part of the IT industry so far, for them maybe it will be something good to get started. Okay, so our entire training program is actually divided into three parts. The first part is business analyst introduction. That is where we are going to build the base for you guys. So building base as in there will be two type of bases. One is understanding the IT industry. What are the common terms used in IT industry? What are the different type of IT companies? So basically understand what is SDLC, software development life cycle, basically trying to understand everything related to IT industry before even we get started. The second type of base that we then build on is related to business analyst. That what is a business analyst? What roles and responsibilities are expected from a business analyst? What are the different skills that you require as a business analyst in order to successfully fulfill your roles and responsibilities? Okay, maybe I want to learn driving. Okay, so what skills do I need for me to learn driving? That is different. Okay, so maybe as a business analyst I need to interact with client, but what skills do I need while interacting with client? Maybe I should have good communication skills. Maybe I should be able to clearly communicate my ideas or clearly express myself. So communication becomes a good skill over there. So we will understand what different skills are needed as well. Then we will slowly move on to understanding basic concepts like what is meant by a need, a requirement. Okay, if you see things like over mentioned over here, we slowly get into the details of different aspects of business analyst work. For example, who is a stakeholder? How do you manage your stakeholders? What is RACI matrix? Then how do we define roles and responsibilities? What are elicitation techniques? What kind of documents do I prepare as a business analyst? What are these documents basically? Okay, and how do I prepare these documents? Then we slowly move on to the agile world of doing things, because nowadays everything is happening in the agile space. So what is agile? Within agile we will particularly focus on scrum framework. So what is scrum? Then understand the differences between the waterfall methodology and scrum. Then what are the different meetings or events that happen in scrum? What is meant by epic, user story? What are the different metrics like velocity? How do we estimate work in scrum? Okay, and then at the end we will have one case study. Okay, now right throughout this training program, whenever we go through any topic which is related to the business analyst work, we will be definitely taking into consideration some examples. Okay, real time examples. Also we will be taking one case study that we will try to complete right throughout the different sessions. Okay, so maybe we all will come to an agreement that let's do a case study on creating a banking application. Okay, not the entire banking application, but maybe a set of banking application. Okay, so we will take that for case study, and we will do that case study, or we will repeat it over different topics. How do we manage stakeholder for that? Okay, how do we document requirements for our case study? So there will be one case study plus live example going right throughout our class. There will be one case study that I will give to you at the end for you guys to practice. Okay, whatever we studied in the class, maybe you should go back and practice as well. Because unless you practice, you will not feel comfortable. Okay, you will not understand the topics as well. Once you practice, basically you will get more doubts. If I teach you something, maybe you will understand it, maybe you will not understand it. If you don't understand, you may ask questions. But some what happens is most of the questions we get is when we practice. Okay, so we have these assignments and case studies that are placed right throughout the different topics, case studies at the end for you guys to practice. Because the more you practice, the more doubts or questions you will get. The more doubts or questions you will get, you'll be able to ask those in the class. I'll answer them, and then you will understand those things in a better way. Now, once we go through this entire training program or this entire structure, you will be able to understand all the basic building blocks of IT industry, the basic building blocks of business analyst, and then from there go on to advanced topics like what is stakeholder, how do we manage stakeholders, what are elicitation techniques, how do we document requirements, what is agile, what is scrum, what are the different events or meetings that happen within scrum, and then what are the different metrics, how do I write user stories, how do I write epics, how do I do prioritization of my requirement or user stories as well. Okay, now I'll stop over here and see if there are any questions from you guys with respect to whatever we have covered so far. Okay, I think most of you guys had questions around the Google Classroom link, and that has already been answered for provide with the mobile number. So yes, you can reach out on that mobile number. If you are not comfortable calling, you can drop a WhatsApp message on that mobile number as well for the Google Classroom link, and the team will share the appropriate link with you. Can we have a case study apart from banking in some other domain as well? So, Nagarjun, that is up to the students to decide. Okay, banking was just an example. I'm not saying we'll have banking case study only. So that is up to the students to decide, like they will get together on what topic they want to have a case study on. If students are not able to decide, then I will give you options that maybe you can pick from there. Okay, the intention for the case study is to again revise the concepts. Okay, uh, so can we, Vignesh is asking if we can work as Scrum Master as well. So Vignesh, Scrum Master and Business Analyst are two different roles. Okay. Now, if there are trouble times or if there is a recession, maybe a business analyst could be asked to perform the role of a Scrum Master. Maybe when organizations are cutting down on resources. But traditionally, Scrum Master and Business Analyst are two different roles. Okay. A Scrum Master is a completely non-technical, non-coding role. A business analyst is a technical and non-coding role. A Scrum Master is more concerned about managing people, like how to get the work done, how do I motivate people, how do I ensure that if five people are assigned to my team, all those five are reporting to office, all those five are efficiently working on the tasks assigned to them. as a business analyst, I don't have to worry about people management or how am I going to assign the work. My main focus is for client management. How am I going to talk to client? Am I expressing my ideas clearly? Am I capturing my requirements clearly? Okay, so these are two different roles. The scrum part that we are going to cover in the training program is to give you more awareness around it. If you are interested in a scrum master role, which is completely non-technical, non-coding role, then that's a different path altogether. Now, Nandini, for your question on what's the difference between a BA, DA, Scrum Master, Product Owner, Product Manager. So I just explained about BA and Scrum Master. With respect to Data Analyst, Product Owner, Product Manager, we will cover that either tomorrow or during our third day. Okay, so once we get to know what are your growth paths, okay, or the career growth as a business analyst, then we will cover these topics as well. Okay, because that is the time where I will introduce terms like product owner, product manager, and it will be more beneficial to explain these things at that point in time. Okay, if we miss any class, can we get videos? Absolutely. So all these trainings, all the training videos, the actual training program videos will be recorded and shared with you through a Google Drive. Okay, and you will have access to these videos, recorded videos, but as much as possible, like you are asking Nikita, as much as possible try to attend these sessions on a live basis, because on live basis you can ask your questions in real time manner. What happens through videos is you will have access to videos, but you will watch the videos. If you have any questions, then you will have to wait till next day to ask your questions also. Okay, so as much as possible attend live trainings. If you miss it, don't worry. Every session is being recorded and it will be shared with the participants post the class is over. Okay. Now for Vipula and Vignesh, for your questions, Vipula is asking how many weeks for this training program, and Vignesh is asking what are the different tools we are going to learn. So that we will cover in the upcoming topics. Both will try to cover today. Okay, sure, Nandini. So once we come to this comparison part on BA, Scrum Master, DA, and all those, we will. I'll cover the growth hierarchy as well in terms of designations. Okay. Now, let me get back to where we were. Now that we have understood the uh, concept so far, or what topics are going to be covered, now Vignesh, for your question, what tools are we going to cover? Okay, so the first the first point over here is Jira tool. Okay, now I'm assuming that most of you will already have because there is some technical background needed, so you would have already done some kind of exercise or some basic knowledge of Microsoft Office, specifically MS Word, MS PowerPoint, and MS Excel. Okay, now I don't expect you guys to be an expert in these tools, but at least you know what these tools are being used for, because there will be assignments wherein you may have to create a document, where you may have to create presentations. So I'm expecting that these tools you are already aware of the basic understanding obviously as business analyst, these tools will require a greater significance. All the requirement documents that you guys prepare may on be Microsoft Word itself. Okay, so Microsoft Office is one area where we need to get comfortable. Now, my covering Microsoft Office basics is certainly not part of this training program, but will give you assignments that will involve Microsoft Office so that you can continue to practice on that tool as well. Now, even on your leisure time, you should continue to practice. If you want me to cover any specific part of it once this training program has started, maybe we can plan for something at the end of the training program. Okay. The second tool would be a Microsoft Visio or Draw.io that is particularly used for drawing flowcharts. Okay. As a business analyst, what is also needed is to draw flowcharts or diagrams which would help someone visualize the requirements. Okay. So that is where the Visio or Draw.io will be helpful. And the last one is Jira. Okay, so Jira is the agile life cycle management tool. It is often called as, let me write it down here. Jira is actually ALM tool, that is agile life cycle management. So we know different events or meetings that happen within agile. We have to create user stories. Obviously, you don't have to worry about these terms now. Those will be covered during our training program. User stories, epics, and all those, how are we going to manage it? How are we going to write down? So that is where the Jira tool will help. So we'll have one session dedicated on Jira on how to create projects, how to create epics, how to create user stories, how to create subtasks within those user stories, how do we link multiple stories. Okay, what's the importance of Jira? So we'll be covering for all those tools as well. Now for Vipula, for your question with respect to timelines, here's the next slide. Okay, so this will be a broadly 5 week training program. The training will be happening every day, Monday through Friday. Okay, so Monday through Friday, all 5 days, 8 a.m. IST will be our training time. Once these demo series is over, we'll start the training program based on that timeline. Now, this will be a 5 week course. Mostly, I'm not saying it will be exactly 5 weeks. The things may go up slightly depending on the students. Actually, sometimes the students will have more questions, doubts. So I'm not someone who will say that I should complete within 5 weeks and done. No, my main idea is to ensure that you guys understand the concepts as well. Because at the end of the day, you have to appear for an interview. Okay, so what's the point of enrolling in a training program if you are not able to learn, if you are not able to crack interviews? Okay, so the better part would be for you guys to enroll, to learn, to ensure that you gain the sufficient knowledge to appear for any interviews and crack it. So this may extend beyond 5 weeks as well. Okay, that does not mean that you may have to pay extra amount for anything over 5 weeks. Whatever the course fees is, that is for the entire training program, whether it is done in 5 weeks, 6 weeks, or 7 weeks. Okay, mostly if on an average the training program goes for 6 weeks. Mostly it goes for 6 weeks because students will have certain doubts, so you may not finish every topic in one day. Okay, but basically we start with our week one by building the basics. Okay, we then move on to week two where we build the basics for the business analyst related work, like what is requirement, who is the stakeholder, okay, those type of basic activities for a business analyst and understanding them. Then on week 3, we talk specifically about the documentations part, and week 4, we start our discussion with respect to agile related framework. Week 5 is planned for case study and preparation. When I say preparation, this is more like giving you guys resume tips. Okay, so at the end of the training program, once all the core concepts related to business analyst are covered, we will have one session where I'll be working with you guys to prepare resume for you, like what you should write versus what you should not write in your resume. I'll also give you a sample or a draft resume that you can refer, but you don't have to exactly copy paste. If every one of you copy paste the same thing, na, then people will get doubt. So I'll give you a sample or a draft resume to refer to. Okay, once that resume part is done, then we will move our focus to interview questions. Some of the commonly asked interview questions, how do you respond to it, or in general, how do you appear for any interview, what to expect in an interview, how to prepare for the interview. And then comes the interview questions part. What type of questions are asked for a business analyst from different sections? Like when it comes to requirement, what could be asked? When it comes to documentation, what could be asked from there? When it comes to agile or scrum or user stories or Jira, what could be asked over there? Okay, so after going through this entire training program and resume part, then we will cover for the interview related questions as well. Okay, so that's where it may span over 5 weeks also, but that will be broadly the timeline for this entire training program. Okay, every day 8 a.m. IST, the training will start. It will be Monday through Friday. All training, or every day the training will get recorded. The recordings will be uploaded and shared to you through Google Drive. Okay, now let me take a pause here and see if there are any questions from you guys. So GP is asking, will UI UX mockups or wireframes be covered as part of this training? So the UI UX mockups part, okay, that is not the responsibility of a business analyst. There is a separate UI UX team, that is user interface, user experience team, that also takes in the input requirement document. So as a business analyst, you work with them to basically share the requirements on what is the expected software, or what different features the software should have. Then the UI UX person will create the design for the software. Okay, as a business analyst, are you going to create the design for the software? No. Are you going to share the requirements to the UI UX person? Yes. Without requirements, no one will be able to create the design. Okay, but does that mean if I'm not creating the screen design or design of the software, does that mean I'm not doing anything? You are creating activity diagrams, use case diagrams, like I said, different flow charts that will be covered. So as a business analyst, I'm trying to convey my information with respect to flow. Am I equipped enough to create the designs? May not be, but can I learn UI UX part? Yes, that's a different training altogether. Okay, so UI UX is a different team nowadays in IT industry that is completely responsible for creating the designs of the software. Now, Nagarjun is asking how likely is it that we can have remote work from home jobs as a business analyst? So, Nagarjun, if your question is about 100% remote, then things would be slightly difficult. The reason being, when it was COVID, the things were 100% remote. Now, with COVID restrictions lifted off, a lot of organizations are working in hybrid fashion. Okay, so maybe they are asking you to work from office once in a week and 3 weeks you can work from home, but they are more or less switching to hybrid mode. There are still few companies that are offering 100% remote, and those companies are majorly some of the startup based companies, okay, that are still offering 100% remote. But if you ask me about MNCs like Infosys, TCS, Accenture, Capgemini, Cognizant, all big names, they are now working in the hybrid mode. So they want you to be in office for few days, and most of the days you can work from home, like maybe work from office for 1 week, and 3 weeks, remaining 3 weeks in a month, you can work from home. So you will find more hybrid opportunities than 100% remote. More hybrid than remote. I'm not saying there will not be any remote. There are remote opportunities still available, but they are like in lesser number as compared to hybrid. Now I'll stop over here, okay? And tomorrow we will start our discussion with what should be the outcome from this training. So basically, outcome is what are you going to learn? Okay, whatever you learn, these all are the different topics that are covered from which you are going to learn. Okay, then how are we going to prepare for it? The case study, the resume preparation, the mock interview part. Then the third topic will be related to certifications. What certifications are available and what are the prerequisites for those certifications. Then we will talk about the career growth part for a business analyst. Okay. And when we talk about different levels, entry level, mid level, senior level, we will go in detail about who is a product owner, who is a product manager, who is a business analyst. And around same time, Nandini, just remind me tomorrow, we will cover for the data analyst and scrum master part as well. Okay. Now, before we wrap up demo for day one, any any questions that you guys want to ask? So Yogesh is asking, as a fresher, can we choose business analyst role? So Yogesh, like I said, it is not 100% difficult, but the journey will not be an easy one. Okay, so see, no one wants to put a complete fresher. When I say fresher, I'm assuming that like you completed your graduation, let's say in 2023, and you have no work experience at all. For me, fresher is someone who is not having any work experience. Forget about IT or non-IT, they just completed their graduation. So if you are talking about that pressure, then it will be difficult because a lot of organizations don't want to hand over client facing roles or client handling work to freshers. If you have some experience, Okay, whether you have already worked as a developer or somewhere, then maybe there are opportunities for you as business analyst. If you are a complete fresher, then like I said, you should look for internship opportunities. Okay, where companies can hire you as an intern for maybe 6 months or 1 year. Once you get through that internship opportunity, then you can start applying for BA roles. If you ask me, as a fresher, direct BA, no. If you are a complete fresher, then maybe go and learn Power BI, maybe go and learn Python. You will have more jobs there as a fresher. But business analyst, I would not recommend. Okay, so we'll stop it here, guys. Thank you so much for your time. We'll meet tomorrow at the same time, 8 a.m. IST tomorrow. We'll continue with our remaining topics.